When I was a kid in the 80s, playing Dungeons and Dragons was a very private, very personal, and very closeted experience that seemed to draw us misanthropic, misunderstood misfits to it like flies to honey. This stuff mattered to us, because after all, it was our great escape from the bland, soul-crushing cultural landscape we were all begrudgingly being dragged through at the time. The experiential, thick-as-thieves tribal bonds that were built on dimly lit bedroom floors and around rickety card tables in an even darker corner of millions of musty suburban basements during those seminal, pre-Harry Potter, pre-Marvel Movie of the Week years ran deep and dark. It felt like this was all ours, and like any dark, deep tribal secret, you kept it close. But as youth gave way to adulthood, and adulthood to careers, and careers to a little bit more cultural control, our deep, dark, closeted, closely guarded, backroomed speakeasy club had somehow, miraculously turned into mainstream culture. And as cool as a place and as accessible a place as Western New York gaming is, when I was a kid, it was unheard of.
Yeah, I'm a big Gary Vee guy, and that's what Gary Vee is always about it. He's like, look, failure's the best. I want to fail because that's going to give me the drive to go harder next time.
Exactly.
And he's like, every time I'm having a huge success, I need to have a big fallback. I need to have a big fallback. I need to have a big L so that I can look at myself and be like, all right, let's do it. We're going for the next.
Well, and you've been here for 5 years now.
5 years, yep.
So, and when you started, you didn't change locations, right?
I have not changed locations.
So now you've been building this slowly over time, right?
Actually, it's funny because right behind us on the wall, there was originally 3 shelves that were just mounted to the wall. No changing, no ability to slide anything. There was none of that slat wall, none of the slat wall behind me.
So did you have like one counter?
I had a big counter that I made myself and the 2 display cases.
Right.
And they were L'd off behind me here. Kind of like they are now, except now there's 3 display cases behind me and 1 next to me. I started with 3 shelves, and all of my initial investment was in the back end. The back end, for the most part, has waned and failed. It's the big failure I needed, and I've slowly started shifting money into the side that I needed to. And every so often I have to
but I mean
between opportunity to do it and we're like, okay, well, we need more space, so slat wall up. There's projector walls on the walls here. I had to take those down because I just needed more space to sell stuff. For me, my personal belief is that the play space should never ever be sacrificed in any facet,
because that's the primary driver.
Because I want you, when you walk in my store, to see your living room and be comfortable sitting down for the rest of the night, hanging out, drinking soda, eating snacks, and playing games. That's the business model. So this side of the thing over here with all the tables and stuff never was even a second thought to never sacrifice it.
It has to be.
Everything else has been finding ways to fit more product in more spaces in the sales area that I had. So it went from 3 shelves to having to put slat wall down the entire wall, having to get rid of a projector wall, having to get a couple of gondolas.
Within the context and confines of the building, you've been able to grow. And but it's like us with the show. Like, you learn your market as you go, and you have to adjust. And certain things are going to change. I mean, when you first started this, the network parties were
huge. Yeah. But now Xbox Ones came out. Now Fortnite's huge. Everybody can play it on their phone. They can play it on a tablet. Every kid has a phone who's 8 years old. Back 5-6 years ago,
nobody had that.
You had to be 14, 15. Like, I got my first phone when I was 17. And I had to buy it myself. My parents couldn't afford to give me one.
How old were you in 98, 99?
16.
16. So do you remember those AT&T commercials?
Oh, no, I had to be 14. Yeah.
Okay, so you would watch TV and you would see those AT&T commercials where they'd show a guy hiking up a mountain watching TV, and they would say, "Don't." You wouldn't at the time. I was like, "That's not gonna happen."
That's not gonna happen.
And then 10 years later, it happened.
People say the craziest things nowadays, and I can't even dispute it. I'm like, 20 years ago, I never thought I'd have a cell phone. I never thought I'd have a computer in my pocket. I had to fight to get one of those Big Macs with the 11.5-inch floppy disk in my bedroom, and it was a hand-me-down from my grandmother. So
You mean the integrated iMac or
the big one with the monochrome screen?
Yeah,
it was
the Apple II or
something like that. I don't even remember, but it was a fight to get that, and I was addicted to computers since then. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure, computers in my hand, that's never gonna happen. when people tell me Elon Musk wants to fly cars in outer space, that doesn't
It's
even.
probably going to happen.
I'm like,
right.
why not?
Right.
Like
At
everything
this
else
point,
is possible.
We have no clue. I don't
Yeah.
think any of us really can predict what is
can't.
going to happen and when it's going to happen.
On a macro level, I'm not that advanced, so I can't do it. I can't mentally fathom it.
Right.
But there's somebody out there smarter than me who can.
She's going to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that affects. I mean, we're the television business is in flux. Your business is in flux. Every technological, because you now with the gaming that you do and the networking that you were doing, you're a tech business. Even though, I like the combination that you have though, because this is as old as time.
Yep.
This whole me, you, this board, we're going to use our imagination, we're going to have some fun, and we're going to bond, and we're going
Yep.
to have this moment. And then you had the networking, which is, basically the now, the future. And that was awesome. But now so at this point when we're filming this, your back room is in a state of flux.
Yep, adjusting again. D&D is the popular thing here now, so
Right.
we're moving to I'm going to try and integrate the portion of the technology that I wasn't before, where I'm going to try and do some like D&D podcasts and offer that as like, hey, come play with us,
Sure.
and we can put you on the internet, we can live stream your game, stuff like that. So I'm in the process
So you're going
of
to offer that as a service.
Yes, I'm starting to put that into perspective because everybody's got a computer in their hand now. They don't need a desktop computer.
Sure.
They don't need a fast connection. Everybody's got one at their fingertips. Now I'm, as
Where's your
Great would
edge?
say, I have to
Right.
keep ever evolving, because what was today, what was MySpace today is Facebook tomorrow, is
Yep.
Twitter the next day. Technology is a hell of a drug, and what's popular today may not be popular
Right.
tomorrow, may not be popular the next day. And like I said, MySpace became Facebook, became Twitter, became Snapchat.
And what's coming up next? Who knows?
You have to accept, and that's the hardest thing to do, is once you get burrowed into your lane and you're like, okay, well,
Right.
this is what I enjoy doing, and then you stay on your lane. The second you stay on your lane, you're stagnant, and that's going to dissipate and fall off, and
Right.
you need to be able to adjust fire and keep growing.
Well,
And
it's the fear.
everything.
Well, I was just talking about this with a cupcake shop owner today. Like they always say, like, make the phone call that you're scared to make. Make
Yeah.
the decision that you're scared to make, because whether you're right or you're wrong, that always keeps you on your toes. It's that animal instinct of making something work. Progress hates comfort, right? So you can't be in a very comfortable position, and I don't think
And
you can grow.
grow. No,
yeah,
you
it's just
can't.
not going to
Absolutely not.
happen. So the growth, it's the no lotus, right? No mud, no lotus.
Yep.
And it's true, because you need that conflict and that resolution.
I find myself talking to myself probably at least 3 times every day, and the thing that comes to mind is, do I want to do this? Oh, I really don't want to do this. And I'm like, look, just put your head down,
Right.
crash through it. Like,
Right.
you don't have a choice now.
But that's an awesome way to look at things, and
Yeah.
that's being a great dad too. Like making sure that your kids know that, like, because a lot of
Yeah.
parents don't instill that, or they might, but they don't. I think like
They don't
my
hit
dad-
the home run.
Yeah, my dad did it in the same way. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, this has got to get done. So just get it done. There wasn't really much of an option, and that kind of gets instilled in you after a while.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you know what? On the days when I don't feel like doing it, I don't. You just do it.
Sometimes I got to do it through my own crying. Like, my kids will do it too. They'll be sobbing and whining and crying. It's like, yeah, I can cry through it, but it's got to get done
Right.
regardless. Like,
Well, and that's how you grew your business, though. It's how
Yeah.
all good businesses, because you're persevering and you're seeing it through.
I also have that mentality. Is like I said, there's like 8 to 10 other stores in the area, and
what are
that
you gonna do, like,
compete
sit
with any.
back? Right.
And the 80% that I give today means somebody else is giving the 100%, and that extra 20% is what keeps their business afloat and keeps mine going
Yep.
under. So I every 100% I don't do, I leave the window open for somebody else to do that little extra bit. And
Well, when I was in college.
so don't let anybody else get ahead of you. Be the highest and hardest working, and then you'll never have to worry about anybody else trying to reach you.
Right, and even if your 100% might not be somebody else's 100%, all you can give is that. That's your maximum. So always try to give your maximum.
Yeah. We won a soccer championship last night, and I was there for a couple of weeks, and I put a lot of effort into it, and I made a lot of big plays that kept us in the game, and actually probably got us to the point of winning. I was a very pivotal player in that. But like, I'm not overcome with joy to this championship, because I don't feel like I put enough in it to earn it.
Right.
And like I've done that with everything. My time in the military, 7 years. Like people are like, oh, why don't you ask for benefits? Why don't you give? I'm like, it was 7 years. I don't feel like I've given enough to warrant, in my opinion, any of these benefits. And people are like, well, you did your
Right, yeah,
time.
you
You
did your
did what
time,
you were
right,
asked
right.
to do. You're eligible. I'm like, I don't feel.
But it's a personal
Yeah.
gauge, you know.
Yeah, like, and I'm just like, I don't know what. Like, I made it to the Pro Tour this year, which has been a dream of mine for like 8 years. Finally got it in the 8th year, right before Wizards took it away. But I got it, and I'm
Right.
like,
That's awesome.
okay, I don't really feel accomplished. What's next? Like,
Right.
I got to move on.
But don't
to
you
the
think
next
that that's
thing.
what it is? I think with your mindset and people that have that type of mindset, you really, it's never the end goal
it's
is the goal. It's
not the
always
high
next.
bar, it's the low bar. It's like, okay, this is what I set my goal for. Now the next.
Yeah.
Now the
You
next.
just
check
keep
mark.
climbing,
Yeah. Like
you know.
I'm not stopping at this rung. Like,
Well, and
we're
so
going.
we can spin that right back around to how you started your business. You had 3 shelves, right?
Yeah.
The empty store pretty much, and you had some tables, and now you've grown to this awesome
Oh.
store. And you've built a community around it, which is really the heart of this type of business.
I've been a part of communities that were lacking. I've been a part of wanting to be in the community. I've been a part of the new man in the community where I was kind of looked over and brushed over. When I opened my store, I wanted every person who walked through that door to feel like they were in the community and they were welcome
Part
in the
of it,
community and they were a contributing factor to how great the community was.
That's awesome.
And I've built that. That's been the business model from the get-go as far as the people aspect of it. And
Well, that's like a restaurant.
Yeah.
Right? You want people to feel welcome.
I
You
do,
want them to
yeah.
feel well fed. You want them to leave full.
I've gotten
Right.
people at this store to make professional accomplishments that they never would have had, that I never had the opportunity to do in the other communities I was a part of. What took me 5 years to do, I've gotten people to do in 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
Rather than
But
having
you've
the 5
mentored
years.
them.
And
In a lot of
because
ways,
that
right? You've given them the
I've-
format, the location.
because I was there to mentor them, because
Right.
the community was there to mentor them. Where before, when in the communities I was in, it was more of a me. How does the community benefit me? Not necessarily how does the community help me become a better piece of a community.
Right.
And that's kind of the philosophy on the business. It's been my philosophy in the family. Like, I have a big family of 7 people, so I have that philosophy that we are a collective unit and we better each other and we
That's
better
awesome.
support each other to make each other the best.
That's a big deal, though.
And it's why I've been around for 5 years and
Right.
I watched 6 or 7 other stores go
Close
out
up,
of business
right.
because they are about the bottom line and the amount of money we make at the end of the day, not necessarily
Well, dude,
the amount of
yes.
people
Yep.
equity we make.
and that's what this show is about. This is in service of. This is not about me. It's not about the people that help me. This isn't about the show, or this isn't about anything really, but just having the pulpit, being
Yep.
fortunate to have it to show you and to show the towns and show things that people may not have recognized. And when you work in service of others, then I think you really find your place in life.
Exactly.
And nothing in life can be from me out. It has to be from this. My perspective is that I grew up in a restaurant. I grew up serving people and fulfilling that need. Now, in the store itself, your product lines have stayed the same the whole time as you progressed?
I'm
or-
continually changing.
So where are you now, like as far as...
In this industry, new products come out every week. There's new releases, new things, new games, new types of games, new everything. And I just got to keep a heart, like the beauty of being in the store so much and running it so much is that I get to see what other people are doing. I
get the
to
feedback,
hear
right?
what they're doing. I get to know what they're interested in. So I get a general feeler for if somebody's interested in something, I can bring it in.
So you said D&D in the back. Now, I thought that was on the out.
I completely see it differently. I see it as a huge resurgence with
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know the market, but I grew up playing D&D.
Yeah, you grew up
So-
playing D&D, but now on Netflix there's a show about D&D that people are watching.
so
It's
that,
not called Dungeons and Dragons, it's called Stranger Things, but it's a bunch of kids sitting
Gotcha,
on the table
right.
playing D&D.
Right.
And cult following. Back then comics weren't cool. Like
No, they weren't at all.
now every single month a new hero comes out or a new hero movie, and when those come out, it makes it okay. And then, like even my generation, like the cynics that have grown up and they're stuck between the boomers and like the early millennials where
Right.
we were just we had to figure out technology,
Sure.
whereas now the new
They're just
millennials are in
born
technology.
in it, right.
Like we see things like Rick and Morty and stuff like that,
Right.
and they're cult following because they resonate with us so
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
And things like that come out, and people buy that stuff because it has Rick and Morty on it. Like
Gotcha.
people my age are now going back and buying things from when they were kids. Like,
Sure.
oh my gosh, this game came out. I played it once when I was 11,
Right.
and now they just remade it, and I want to try it again, and it's a lot of fun. Same thing with D&D. Like you played as a kid. You didn't really know what you were doing.
No, you
and
didn't.
It was kind of like,
but it was super fun.
you were
right?
all adventuring.
Right.
You were hanging out, and it was a reason to hang out with your
It was
friends.
exactly. It was communal
And
more
then-
than anything.
Guys had kids when they were 20, 22,
Yeah, nobody plays.
and now nobody hangs out with each other now. And like, honestly, it's not feasible to just go out to a bar and spend a night drinking at a bar because
Right.
you're gonna spend $60-$70 on some
And you got
beers.
nothing.
You got nothing but a hangover
Yeah.
the next day and maybe a day off of work.
Right.
Like. Now you can go out, spend the night hanging out with your family, hang out with your friends.
Right.
You can bring your kids along now that they're 9, 10, 11 years old.
Sure.
I have most of my groups are guys our age.
And you have
that
they have families that
that bring in their kids because their
That's
kids
awesome.
are now like back when we did it, it was you're a jock or you're a gamer or you're
Right, right.
this or a prep
Yeah,
or
it's
this
total,
or that
yeah.
or a skateboarder. Like
Yeah,
now
total
it's
factions,
Like,
yeah.
It's like do what you enjoy. Like who cares? Why am I to judge you for what you enjoy?
Yeah, I don't think anybody. I think that's kind of went away. Now it's more what
It's-
you like. It's more
it
that
has.
it's not built
They've all
upon.
blended together almost
Yeah.
because now it's acceptable to be
Right.
a jock. Like I had the football team come in and sit down and play D&D for 5 hours. in
You
a
did.
day. And it's like,
See, now to me, that would never happen, right?
yeah.
When we grew up, that would have never
again,
happened.
like we had the conversation where cars driving in space may not be mentally feasible to me, but I know it's going to exist someday
Right.
because how could it not?
Sooner than later, right? Yeah.
Like there
So-
is no line of play here that doesn't result
Right.
in everything existing.
And so now you do the magic stuff, you do the D&D. It's all about this communal and board game,
and a lot of the times,
role-playing experience.
what'll happen is everybody will have one big money sink, whether it's Magic the Gathering, it's D&D, it's Warhammer, or miniature gaming.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have one big money sink, or board gaming as a whole. And then what it'll do is, when you and I come to play D&D every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe a couple of our guys can't make it, we just meet up and play board
And
games.
just do whatever,
And then whoever
yeah.
else is here jumps in on our board games.
It's awesome.
Or we can do other things too because it's all inclusive.
Right.
Just because I play one thing doesn't mean I can't do
Play
something
the other,
else.
right.
And when you show up because you're part of the community. If you've seen, for example, a customer sitting over at the other table,
Right.
you see them every day that you're here. So
Yeah.
now it's not a big deal to walk over to that person that
Say, hey,
maybe in high school you wouldn't have because you're
It's
not
just
allowed.
right,
to.
right, yeah.
Like now
You're
you
crossing
walk
over
over and
some
it's like, hey,
border.
we're about to play a game. You want to hop in? We see you
Right.
hang out here waiting every day. Come play a game.
That's
with us.
awesome.
Or
It's a big deal, honestly, to me. Like
or the other
growing
way,
up-
that person's not afraid to approach you and
Right,
say,
say, hey, what are you
can
guys
I jump
doing?"
into your
Right.
game? Like,
Well, we kind of had that when I was playing hockey when I was a kid in the neighborhood. You know what
And
I mean?
that's-
It's the same type of thing. Like a kid's in his house. There's 10 of us out there playing. The kid comes out with his stick. You don't even think about it. He just jumps in and he starts
jump
playing.
in, sure.
And that develops a community. It makes a kid feel accepted.
and that's growing up in that situation where my parents couldn't really afford much. We had to make whatever we had work.
Sure.
And this goes back to the discussion about nonconformity. I wasn't prepared to conform to one of the group standards.
Right.
So I did what I did. And so I meant I played in this group, I was in this group, I was in the nerd group, I was
Right.
in the jock group.
See, I
was
did
in-
the same thing.
And-
I straddled we had a group of about 3 or 4 of us that did that. We were accepted by everybody. We were one of the first, and it was really odd to me, but I don't know how we managed to navigate, but we did.
I don't know either, but now I see that as not being necessarily a drawback anymore, and I open that with this same thing in mind. And from that aspect, if I'm sitting behind the counter and I see 2 entirely different groups, or say one person sits down by themselves over there and another
Right.
person sits down, I bring them together. I go, hey guys, you play this person plays this, why don't you
Why
guys
not?
see what you
Right.
can do?
That's awesome.
And that's part of the community building, because if you want to be here, you
Right.
will continue to come
But don't
back.
you? So that's where your business. Because when I first walked in today, we were talking about technological changes in the retail business have affected everybody. I don't even. I think and food's even been massive.
Everything.
There's nothing that's been untouched by it. But here's the one thing that you can't replace with you is the human connection.
That's
so
true.
your business really, the vast majority of your business really is about providing, listen, I
Yeah.
look at this honestly, like when I was a kid, we used to build forts. Okay. I look at your business. Whenever I see places like this, I immediately go back to that fort when I was a kid. We built them every summer. They were tucked away. Nobody knew where they were. It was our awesome place to go. We brought our games. We brought our comic books.
We all hang out and
Yeah.
enjoy ourselves. I mean, the world's hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
You might as well have a few minutes of respite. Just
and you
to
have
hang
a
out
place.
and-
Yeah, your place where
you feel
come.
welcome.
Right.
I grew up maybe like Saturday morning cartoons would be over and Cheers would come on, and
Right.
that I didn't understand those concepts because I was 9 and 10, but these days I do understand those concepts. You just want to go to a place where everybody knows your name.
You feel comfortable. You feel
want to know.
accepted.
You want to be able to walk in. Everybody greets you at the door, like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Right.
You may not be part of my circle. I may not be part of your circle.
But here we are.
But here we are together, and let's make the best of it.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome, dude.
It's the idea behind Cheers, without
Yeah.
And
Well, it's inclusiveness. I saw, the movie The Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah.
So I saw that movie in the theater first run. We just went with no expectation. It was just a Friday. We went. But inside that theater was every strata of every type of ideological, social, cultural person, right? It was just all here. There's probably 300 of us. Walking out of that theater was one of the weirdest experiences. I was only like 12 or so. It was one of the weirdest experiences you could have as a kid, because what that movie talked about was this: that we're all the same. There's no reason to have these overwrought fictional barriers, because none of it's true. We're all human beings. We all have the same wants and the same needs. And what I love about places like this is for the misfits. So, and I consider myself one of them heavily.
Me too.
These type of places always spoke to me. And when I was growing up, these were hyper rare. So, to have guys like you say, you know what, I'm making my own, but you're making the fort for us
and
to come in.
And in this industry, it's real big on the I can do it better than somebody else kind of thing, and that's part of the competitive person in me. I'm a gamer at heart, so I'm always competitive, and I'm actually friends with a lot of the store owners in the area that have stores in this industry because of that. Because I want to see what they're doing because I want to be better than them, and they want to see what I'm doing so they can be better than me.
Escalates everybody.
But we all benefit from that.
Right.
Like if I go to your house every weekend and you come to my house every Tuesday and I see you have a nice couch and then I get a nice couch, we both have nice couches now and we both enjoy those nice couches.
Right. Yeah, it's the one nice aspect of the
Yeah.
keeping up with the Joneses mentality. If you're doing something like this, that really counts. I mean, this is no different than songwriting. If you were a songwriter and I was a songwriter, it's the Lennon and McCartney thing. Like, you write this awesome song, well, you know what? I'm going to try to write an even better song. And then and before you know it, we have something that's world class and benefits everybody.
Yeah, and that's and that's the thing. Like, it's a rising tide floats all ships. Like, we're all on this sea together. We might as well make the best of it and
That's awesome.
do the best by each other.
Sure.
And I like that because it doesn't let me sleep on anything.
Right.
Yeah,
it keeps you progressively moving forward, right?
Like I told you before, the day I take off is the day somebody else has an extra day on me.
Yep.
And I can't, I won't let that happen because it's my livelihood and my kids and everybody else.
Sure, yeah, they
And
depend on you.
Not
for
only
that.
my kids in my small circle, but my shop family in the large circle.
Right.
And I look at everybody that comes in here in family, no matter how quirky or sometimes
diverse, right, yeah.
diverse that people can be, or how much different than me they are, and how much they might clash with me, they're still family.
Right.
And when it comes to family, as long as you consider them inside your walls and family, you're still going to take care of them, even if they may not be your favorite person in the world. But it's still, they're all family. So you have
and there's
to
a
treat it that way.
commonality. They're here because they love this stuff, just like you. So at the root of it all, the core of it is the same. And as long as you have that, you've got everything.
Exactly.
Because we're always going to, as you move out from your core, everybody's going to get different to a degree. And then there'll be a point when there's no similarity. But if you back that down and back that into this, you're walking the same, the same type of ideological line. So, is there anything else in your business that you want to mention as far as product lines? I mean, you do the D&D, you do the Magic, you do board games.
Pretty much everything. We have Magic the Gathering. We have board games from all the publishers, everywhere from miniature games to war games to social games. We try to provide like I told you in the preliminary, I don't sacrifice any play space for retail space ever, because
That comes
that's
first,
the most
right.
important thing to me. So I provide, first and foremost, the place for you to come and play. If I don't provide it, and you ask me to provide it, I will do my best to provide it, because that's what we exist
Awesome.
for. We exist
Right.
for the customers, so that the customers can
Have the spot. right.
I jokingly say, like, there's this faux pas in the business that clubhouse stores, they're called, where they're
Okay.
not real stores. They just kind of open up. A group of friends will open up just so they can hang out. And have a
And in
clubhouse
California, I
mentality.
remember a couple that were like that.
Yeah. So it's like a clubhouse store. I hate that word, because I feel like every store should be a clubhouse. I feel like this should be a club. You should come here and want to spend your money here rather than on Amazon or
Right.
somewhere else, because you know that extra 10% you're spending here is coming back into you for the space that we all
Yeah,
hang out and play
sure,
in.
it's a communal space.
It's not
sure.
just
it's a
my
cooperative,
space.
right?
It's not my store, it's our store.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, one of my biggest things that I've done that no other store has been able to do or ever probably will do is I allow people to, like this polo that I'm wearing with
Right.
our name and stuff on it, I allow all of our people to get it. Every person who sits on a table,
That's cool.
or anybody who
Right.
feels affiliated. I've had people that are from other states, other places, that see us on a regular basis out and about, and they're
Right.
like, "You guys are awesome. I want to represent you guys with my shirt and stuff." No other stores do that, because, and I don't give them away. I make people buy them.
Sure, sure.
And people feel okay buying them because they get
Well, they wanna
to
support you.
represent the community
Right.
that they're a part of. Because it's not my store. It's not my
Right.
wife's store.
They're part of it.
It's
right.
their store.
Right.
And
well, that's the brand. I mean, listen, we grew up with some of
Yeah.
the first generations that wore brands and what it meant to wear a brand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, and our parents, no, I don't think ever saw it. And, you know, it's funny because in a way that's conformity. But you were, there was a bit of nonconformist to wear brand. It's no different than a concert shirt.
Yeah,
You know, that's
exactly.
all it is. I mean, it's just saying, look, this is my culture. This is like who
this
I
is
am.
who I am. This is
And,
my
yeah.
identity, and that's the thing. Like, I want everybody to identify with what we are as a whole, not necessarily one individual thing.